call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Bruno Silva takes on Marc-André Barriault this Saturday at UFC 315. And this is a very evenly matched fight, I think. Kind of a low-level fight, to be honest. Marc-André Barriault, 16-9. Coming off of a knockout loss to Dustin Stoltzfus, and before that a knockout loss to Joe Pyfer. Before that a split decision loss to Chris Curtis. Bruno Silva coming off of 4 losses to Ismail Nordiev, Chris Weidman, Shar Magomedov, and Brendan Allen. Has 1 win over Brad Tavares by knockout, which is impressive, but then 2 losses before that. So he's 1-6 in his last 7 fights, stemming back 3 years. So not a lot of momentum behind these guys at 35 years old. Hate to be a negative Nancy, but not the brightest futures for these guys. But I think this will still be a good scrap. Marc-André Barriault, like I said, 35 years old. He's 6'1" with a 74-inch reach, and Bruno Silva, 35, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. So pretty identical frames. Marc-André Barriault, more of a, I'd say more well-rounded. He, pretty good striker with decent wrestling, will push a pace, kind of weaponizes his cardio against guys. His nickname is the Powerbar, just because he pushes a very high pace. Hasn't looked the best as of late. His last loss against Dustin Stoltzfus, I picked him to win that one. I just thought he'd be able to put a little bit more pressure on Stoltzfus and beat him en route to a decision. But I think he slipped or something and was put on his back for the whole first round, got up, and then they just kind of started winging punches, and Stoltzfus caught him in the middle of an engagement. So just kind of got caught. But the fight before that, got put out cold face first by Joe Pyfer. So it's concerning to me that he's coming off of 2 straight losses by KO. But he was able to go to a split decision with Chris Curtis in that one, who's a power puncher as well. And but he's also been put out by Chidi Njokuani back in the day, so his chin is suspect. Chin is definitely suspect. And then I look at Bruno Silva, and it's just like his heart is suspect. I just don't know if he wants to be in there anymore. His last fight against Ismail Nordiev, he was just so lackadaisical, just looked kind of listless, like he didn't want to be in there. He didn't really care, was just kind of showing up for a paycheck, couldn't really pull the trigger. If he does pull the trigger, he's dangerous. He can strike, he's got power, but it was just like he just looked off. He would throw lazy kicks and kind of turn his back to his opponent and be super slow to kind of turn back around, and he'd allow like Nordiev to get offense on him. I don't know. I mean, he's okay. He can strike. He's got good takedown defense, like 74% takedown defense, but lately just kind of plodding and, throwing 1 strike at a time. Just not really looking like he's committed to it. Just kind of looks like he's in there to check a box and get his payday. Doesn't seem like he feels like he's got much more time in his career. 4-fight losing streak, not a lot of, 0 momentum at all. So it's hard for me to pick him in this one. So I'm leaning towards Marc-André Barriault. I look at the last fight with Chris Weidman and Bruno Silva. Weidman was able to push the pace, land his shots. He was able to mix it up very well, and I know that that's what Marc-André Barriault's his strategy is going to be. Bruno Silva was kind of done dirty in that fight, just kept getting repeatedly poked in the eye. Was TKO'd via eye pokes at the end of that fight, which was just insane how that wasn't overturned to a no contest. Or no, it went to a technical decision technically, which is just, whatever. But having that type of performance against Chris Weidman, who's been very 50-50 since he lost the belt, hasn't looked the best, looked awful in his last fight against Eric Anders, just kind of giving up and getting TKO'd. It's hard for me to choose you when you're looking like that against him. And Ismail Nordiev, lost that fight handily, and he took that on short notice. Lost to Shar Magomedov, got choked out by Brendan Allen. He did go 3 rounds with Alex Pereira, which is impressive, but just doesn't have the best wins. I mean, Brad Tavares is up there. He's kind of a 50-50 fighter. Had 3 wins when he came into the UFC, but it's against Andrew Sanchez in a comeback win, Wellington Turman, Jordan Wright, who shouldn't be in the UFC. I'm not very impressed with him. But honestly, I'm not very impressed with Marc-André Barriault as of late. But the guys that he's losing to are very high level. Chidi Njokuani, Anthony Hernandez, Chris Curtis, Joe Pyfer, Dustin Stoltzfus. Like, these guys are good. Like, Joe Pyfer's really good. He's huge for the division. He's got tons of power. And I just think Marc-Andre Barriault, I think he'll be able to push a high pace, land the better shots, mix in his takedowns, and just kind of push Bruno Silva to the fence and use his cardio to win a decision. I just don't think Bruno Silva's in there to win. I don't see him biting down on his mouthpiece and throwing hands the way he needs to keep Marc-Andre Barriault off of him. And I don't really trust either of these guys, honestly. Silva just hasn't really let go with his strikes in his last few fights. He's been kind of rushing his attacks, getting kind of off balance, just looking kind of sloppy. He does have success when he goes at times, but that's been against, Chris Weidman and guys that I don't think are very good anymore. But then I also don't trust Barriault's chin, and I'm concerned that Silva could land something on him and hurt him and get him out of there. But then I think through Bruno Silva's recent career, and he's not getting anybody out of there. The last person that he got out of there was Brad Tavares, and that was 2 years ago. Before that was Jordan Wright in 2021. So I don't know. I look at Barriault and I know he's got losses, but I can excuse some of those losses. The Dustin Stoltzfus one, Stoltzfus is strong. He's got power. Kind of caught him in the middle of an engagement where he had been on his back the entire time, was kind of looking a little tired. And then Joe Piper, he's putting out a lot of guys. They're both getting up there in age. They're both 35, but honestly, Barriault I wouldn't guess that he was 35 just by the way that he fights in his recent performances, whereas Silva, I'm like, yeah, this dude's definitely 35. He looks like he's 37, 38, pushing 40, the way that he's just kind of plodding around, showing up, not really putting it on the line, I would say. So I trust Marc-Andre Barriault's going to come out looking to get back into the winning column, going to be more motivated to get a win in front of his hometown crowd. Hasn't fought since November, so he took off very beginning of November, so he's taken off 7 months, let his chin recover, and I think he'll have a better showing in this one. I think he'll be defensively responsible against Silva, who is kind of a one and done striker as of late, not the most versatile. He is going to just pretty much plan on standing up. He's not going to look to shoot. He's not going to look to get takedowns and work for submissions. So I think Barriault's going to be able to develop a game plan to push a high pace, land his kicks, land his strikes, mix in his grappling, tire him out, stay safe on the feet, and get this one done by decision. Thanks.